Konko Talk. Konko Talk. Aloha everyone. Thank you very much for listening to this program. Konko Talk is a program where people in the Konko phase talk about various topics. The thought and opinion we share on this program may differ from yours, but we hope that you enjoy and learn something new. Perhaps you will learn something new that may affect our thoughts, behaviors, and action for the better. Our different background, religions, thoughts, and culture provide the diversity that strengthens our community, just like biodiversity is essential for a healthy planet Earth. I'm Koichi Konko from the Konko Mission Honolulu. Joining me are Aimee and Edna. How are you doing today?
Hello.
Hello, Aimee.
Doing
Hello,
good.
Edna.
You.
Thank you for joining us. Today's topic is the praying anywhere, anytime, for anything.
And this
And
came as a theme, right? For the KCNA, KMH, or the Konko Missions, the Konko Churches of North America, and the Konko Missions in Hawaii joint conference theme. And the
yes,
conference was held between July 4th and 6th in Sacramento, California.
yes, I thought it's pretty interesting topic, and I'd like to share a couple of teaching from the Voice Universe. That's found Konko Daijin teaching. There is neither day nor night, near nor far for Kami. Pray with a sincere heart anytime, anywhere. Another one, there are no requests that cannot come true. Request through Konko Daijin. You can receive divine blessing for anything. And also one more teaching. Ask Kami for anything. Kami exists to receive request. From the teaching from the Voice Universe, 165, 156, and 38. I think those teaching kind of relate to the theme.
Yes, absolutely.
Recently, I listened to the other podcasts, the Konkokyo Sensei uploaded. One of the teaching hit me is like praying anywhere, right? So when the person introduced the sensei way before, he used to pray after the post, pray for post. When you post the letters, you have to go all the way to the post, and when put in your letter to the post and pray. And the sensei of the podcast mentioned that that's kind of interesting and important that for now we use more like an email or SNS, the Facebook or social media. Yeah. And we sometimes make a trouble because you don't think, you just post it and make problem. But we pray before hit to the button. Maybe we can reduce we have a moment, pray for not only for ourselves, but pray for everything all right, So that make better world. So that was pretty interesting for me nowadays.
Well, even for our church, when we receive any kind of snail mail in our mailbox, the physical mailbox, whether it's mail that's considered junk mail. I used to call it junk mail, but my mom says, oh, you shouldn't use that word because whatever company it was, they, spent their money to mail those things, and somebody worked hard to design whatever postcards that you may not, feel it's important, but to some people they are. So we shouldn't call any kind of junk mail junk mail. So just say mail. And whatever mail arrives in our mailbox, we take it and we put it in the altar and we give thanks to Kami-sama. Even bills, like the midweek magazine, everything goes before the altar before we open up whatever comes to us. Even when I send out the monthly newsletters, like before I hit the send button to the people on my email list, I always pray. I say, oh, please, Konko-sama, I hope that it doesn't have too much errors on it. A couple errors after sending, but I pray that this message in the email will touch even one person's heart when they read it, and the message of Kami-sama will, spread to people. So that way I feel a little bit more punching, a little bit more, I don't know, it feels like a safety net to do that for me, and I feel more secure.
It's kind of a practice in mindfulness, I think, because when you really think about it, it's something as simple as the mail. Goes for anything though, but in this case, if we're talking about the postal mail, we don't realize how important it is to get even junk mail, until you don't get it, until you
Mm,
stop getting it. If something goes wrong along the way and suddenly you stop receiving mail because could be human error, could be something else, could be a number of reasons. It's kind of a small miracle that we get. All these millions of people across the world are getting, or billions of people
yeah,
across the
yeah.
world are getting mail every single day
Mm,
to where they are specifically, correctly every single day. When you think about it, it's kind of, it's almost miraculous that I get, that we get the midweek every week, or we get the annoying credit card offers, or, even that in itself. Like, I have that discussion every once in a while with my friends. It's like, it's so irritating that you get credit card offers every, like, stop wasting money. But then
mm, mm,
I think it was my auntie that pointed out one time that, you know, if you didn't have good credit, you wouldn't be getting those credit card offers. They wouldn't be offering you the money. So
mhm,
when you think about it that way, it's like, oh, okay, out there's just a lot of factors. You have to have good credit. You have to be seen as worthy of receiving this annoyance mail in some
mhm,
cases. If you didn't have good credit, if you weren't good about paying back money, these companies wouldn't bother sending these offers to you. And maybe when you do need the money, if you don't have any offers, it's pretty hard to get
mhm.
credit these days. So that's something to think about. These atarimae things, maybe not so atarimae in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Hmm.
That is so true. Because, when I bought my first car, that was a really hard thing to do. I went to the dealership and I wanted to have a car loan. And then because I was a first time car buyer and I didn't have a credit card, I was like, I should have had a credit card, but I didn't. So my credit score was zero. And they tried to call like 10 credit card companies on the spot. They all declined me.
Hmm.
However, just one bank, Bank of Hawaii, gave me a chance and they decided to lend me money. And till this day, I'm really thankful for that company because that is the only bank that lent me money to buy this brand new car for the very first time. And after that, yeah, I've been getting tons of credit card mail. So, they are kind of annoying, but now that Aimee mentioned that, I should feel grateful for them because it was really difficult in the beginning. Now everybody wants to, sell their credit card.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not until you don't get it, because I've been in that place where I stopped getting credit card offers. And you kind of wonder, like, "Oh, shoot, am I not worthy of getting credit anymore? What
Mhm.
did I do wrong?" And it's not until you don't have it. Although I do still wonder why I'm getting the AARP mail. Or actually, no, I don't get it anymore. I was getting it in my 20s for whatever reason, and then now that I'm older, I'm not getting it. What's up with that?
And I'm getting like United Healthcare. But yeah, different kind of perspective. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, so when pray, I think we can have a different perspective if we continue to pray.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how many people expected your prayer come true if we receive prayer requests and pray hard, of course, and sometimes it seems like kami-sama didn't listen or not, or something different result. We expect something better, but I think nobody complain, or most of people accept the result. I think nobody
Mm-hmm.
sue us. And the one of the sensei mentioned that actually because praying is one of the way to practice faith, to improve our faith, or receive virtue. So in that case, I can understand, even though we pray and sometimes we don't receive blessing or feel like, oh, somebody didn't listen to me. What is happening to me even though we pray and practice faith? But
Mm-hmm.
if practicing faith, it kind of makes sense to me, even though I pray hard and the result was different or expect is more. But eventually we can tell, oh, that was blessing. Of course, that's I pray this way, but results are actually different. But still, when think about the results, wow, that's more than expected.
Exactly. Sometimes, what we pray for doesn't turn out exactly the way we want it. Sometimes it doesn't happen at all, and we think, oh, that prayer didn't come true. But it wasn't meant for you, or it wasn't meant for me. That's what I think. If I pray and it doesn't come true, it's not meant for me. So I don't really complain about it.
Hmm.
I just accept the situation and I move on. And because really, I don't feel like I'm suffering or, some things are just wants and it's not a need, and it's totally okay.
So I listened to the radio to the Konkokyo podcast, and the person introduced the one episode when the second Konko-san was alive, and the one believer attended his worship hall, the second Konko-san worship hall, and when she realized when left, oh, there's my geta is gone. You know, she couldn't find her geta. Geta is how to explain, like a
Wooden clogs, footwear.
and she said, Konko-sama, maybe somebody took my geta. So Kami-sama give me the shugyo opportunity. Go back home with barefoot. That must be a face training for me. And wow, that's interesting because pretty sure the second Konko-sama time, the main worship hall was very small. Probably you can tell who came while she was there. Probably somebody took them and she could complain, well, that person must be took my geta, or maybe mistake. She mistook, or his mistook.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of complain, she accepted as a shugyo, the face training, just like a founder did. So that's interesting to me. It hit me that when prayer at the main worship for Konko-san was Toitsuki mediation and also prayer at the worship hall, you was able to ready to accept the problems as a blessing. Do you have any similar experience that you were able to accept the problem as Kami-sama guidance or blessings instead of complaining?
Yeah, like our recent trip to San Francisco, it got delayed almost 2 hours and a half. And, at first I felt kind of bummed, like, man, it's late. What? But then in the back of my head, I was like, maybe I shouldn't be complaining because it's better than an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they need to do a little bit more maintenance work. So thinking about that, I thought, this is way better than an accident, so I'm just going to accept it and just pray that we all fly safely and arrive safely. And before I ride on the airplane, I always touch the body of the airplane before I right at the entrance, and I put my hands on the body of the airplane and I say, Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And then when I get off, I say thank you to the airplane again. Once you get on that airplane, you are entrusting your life to the pilot who's flying the airplane. And I'm sure he feels a big responsibility to take everybody to their destination safely. And he or she is doing their job to the best of their ability. And I really appreciate the pilots every time and the airplane itself for taking us.
Yeah, I feel like prayer in that kind of situation is more about, I feel like in that situation, like it's that kind of situation, it's more about maybe communication with Kami-sama. Kami-sama making you more aware of, like you said, you're entrusting your life to the pilot to get you safely from point A to B. When you really think about it, it's not just the pilot, it's also the mechanics that maintain the plane. It's the people who load the plane. It's the people who are fueling the plane. It's the people who are loading the people onto the plane. From the agents to the cabin crew, it's everything. There's a lot of different factors, and it all has to work together in order for you to get from point A to point B safely. And if any one part of that team doesn't do their job, or if they're kind of off that day, or something goes wrong, it doesn't happen. You're either delayed, or God forbid, you don't even get there. So that's all part of, I was always taught that that's all part of praying to Kami-sama. It's to ensure that all of those parts that you're not even aware of, to get you through your day, everything that you're not aware of, it's not up to you. You can't really do anything to control everything that goes on around you, or how your day is going to end up. It is in Kami-sama's control. And that's where you have to pray and try to get an understanding of what Kami-sama has in store for you that day, kind of thing, is I guess what my outlook is on that.
Absolutely. Even the passengers too.
Right.
It's like there's one disruptive passenger. You have to turn around.
Exactly.
Or if there's like a medical emergency too. There's like 200, sometimes like a big airplane could, seat up to more than 400 people, right? So I was like, oh, please, I pray that everybody on this airplane will be healthy and not have any medical emergencies. So just really getting from point A to point B is such a big blessing that we take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Even just to the supermarket, which is only 5 minutes away, just going and coming back safely is such an okage.
Right. I remember the story. I can't remember when you told it, but the story you told us, it might have been a young adult thing that
Mm-hmm.
you had mentioned how you pray when you're looking for parking. You pray
Mm-hmm.
for not yourself to get parking, but for the person in front of you to get parking. And
Mm-hmm.
that always kind of stuck with me. They go, yeah, okay, I can't be selfish about prayer. You have to pray for the person in front of you to get parking because if that person doesn't find a parking spot, then you're never going to find a parking spot either.
Yeah, true, true.
So, yeah, there's a lot of it's just a constant reminder of you're not really in control of how your
Mm-hmm.
day is going
Mm-hmm.
to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I realize usually I pray when get on the car, I pray, and when get on the airplane, I pray. But when I went to Sacramento to join the conference, this early July, I kind of nervous because first time for maybe over 10 years, I traveled to mainland with my son. First time with my son.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of nervous and I forgot to pray. I get on the plane and I didn't pray because I think I was pretty nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, oh, I didn't pray. And I look back and when I nervous or worry, I forgot to pray. Usually I'm calm and I don't forget. I pray. But when nervous or something happen, I always forget to pray, ask Kami-sama to help. Try to solve myself, try to do my best, and I have to calm down. But when pray, we're supposed to be calm.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer helped me to stay calm, and I can pray. And when nervous, I forget to pray, and then more nervous, and whoa, I need to train myself that I have to pray every time, everywhere for anything. Maybe I have to focus on prayer sometimes. I receive a prayer request. I have a prayer session. I have a routine. I pray at the Kekai. I pray at the worship hall, but easy to forget. I feel kind of shame as a minister. That's reality. But that's why I should continue to Keiko.
Keiko practice, ne?
Yes. So I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that, the H2O theory, the more it's different. And like H2O gather maybe 10, 100, 1000 as a molecule, but 10 to the 23rd power and became water. With the quantity is important sometimes. And then also quality. The quantity and we can have a quality. So I need to continue to practice faith through praying and try to connect with Kami-sama.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my prayer routine is well, I wake up and before I even go anywhere, even to the bathroom, I put my hands together while still in bed and I say, "Thank you for Konko Daijin for allowing me to experience this brand new day that can't get any more newer than this moment." And I do a quick head to toe pat down and I say, "Thank you, thank you, thank you" to my body parts and put my hand on my chest. And I say, "Thank you for beating 100,000 times a day to my heart," which keeps me alive. And then I get up, use the bathroom, and go to my altar afterwards and do the whole gokinen. And I say the prayers all in Japanese. And before I used to say it in the car going to work while my husband's driving. But then I thought, why don't I be more proper and wake up just a little bit more early so I have that time to sit down and have that one-on-one time with Kami-sama. So I do that now. I sit down at the altar in my room and I say all the Japanese prayers. And then I pray for a good shift that day for safety for the staff and all the patients. And really for any time, anywhere, for anything, I say Konko-sama. And like poking an IV. I work at the hospital as a nurse. Poking an IV, I say Konko-sama, Konko-sama. Like, I don't say it loudly, but we have to wear a mask, so I say it under the mask, like silently. Whenever I hang IV meds for the patients, when I give any kind of pills to the patient too, in my heart, I say, Konko-sama, please let this be good to the patient. This could be good for the patient. Every time I listen to the heart and lung sounds of my patient, I am saying, Konko-sama, 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 while I'm listening to them. Of course, they don't hear me, but I am saying that under my mask. And really, for anything, it just makes me feel so safe. And I feel that Kami-sama's guidance is with me when I say Konko-sama. for anything. And then when I get home, go back to the altar and tell Kami-sama, Konko-sama, I had a good shift today. Sometimes it's hectic, but still yet I was able to arrive safely, take a shower, go back to the altar again and say, Oyasumi, good night. Thank you for today. And then go to sleep. So that's like my prayer routine. Yeah.
Nice. Praying is not only for yourself, but for others. And for others, but also for ourselves. When listening to Edna Sensei's story, that's it's good. The teaching I like to share is even if someone hits you, do not strike back. Don't cause suffering. Be thankful if your heart becomes good and pray even for those who pass by. When you are able, help others. So even pray even for those who pass by. So that means somebody else you don't know, but still, if you can pray and if you can help or help others, that's a pretty strong message Konko-sama telling us. I'd like to share the third Konko-sama, the prayer. I mean, when Professor Robert Pierce Beaver, American mythologist, visited the third Konko-sama. I don't know why, but I look up the Robert Pierce Beaver. In 1955, he was appointed professor of missions at the University of Chicago, the Divinity School, and he taught there until his retirement in 1971. So I think during this time he visited Third Konko-sama because Third Konko-sama passed away 1963, 4, forgot. So he asked Third Konko-sama to Kekkai if you have any message, not only for the people of Japan, but for people around the world, please share it with us. And the Third Konko-sama replied, I pray that everyone will be granted what is best for their circumstances, as everyone has their own wishes. In Japanese, いろいろ願いがありますから、そのご都合をいただけますようお願いいたしております。So that's interesting because what Professor Weber asked, if you have any message for the world, please share it. And the third Konko-sama said, I pray that everyone will be granted what is best for their circumstances, as everyone has their own wishes. And I believe this is his daily prayer. He prayed the world peace and human salvation, I believe. So that's just naturally shared what he's praying. He was praying. He had been praying. So I think very powerful, a very short message, but the Professor Beaver satisfied. He said, Professor Beaver said, どうもはっきりいたしまして大変ありがとうございました in Japanese, but probably in English. He said in English, but I don't have actual English. But sound like he satisfied. So when pray every day, that's so natural, so we can share naturally. I think that's make who you are. Any comments?
So I wonder if someone like Konko-sama ever prays for himself. You know what I mean? In that episode, it sounds like he's constantly praying for everyone else. I wonder if there's ever a time when he prays for himself, purely for himself. I mean, as human, because he is human, I would assume so. I would assume that he's praying for himself. He's also praying for his family and those close to him, and then also for everyone else as Konko-sama. But like you pointed out yourself, Koichi Sensei, that there are certain times where it's hard to remember to pray. And for me as a lay member, that's kind of refreshing to hear, because I guess having ministers as parents, I know that they are very much human. I have my brothers are ministers as well, and I have family members that are ministers and they are still very much human. They worry, they get angry. They're not walking around as saints, even though they're ministers. So I find it refreshing when a minister admits that there are times, even for them who are supposed to be more advanced in practicing faith, that they find it hard to remember to pray. I would love to ask Konko-sama that question. Do you ever pray for yourself? Or do you ever question the power of prayer or the power of having faith? Things like that. I don't know, because I there's definitely times I completely understand that there is a lot of power in prayer. And really, technically, I guess you could say you should be praying every moment in your daily life. You should be praying in some way. What that praying looks like is very different. I mean, with Edna taking care of her patients, every needle poke, every medical, medicine administration, I think that's kind of like a short prayer. Anytime you say Konko-sama is like a short prayer. In my opinion, it's like a little short prayer. And for someone like me who likes to take the easy way out on everything, I like Edna in the morning when I wake up, I usually say to myself only, 今日も命いただきましてありがとうございます. Thank you for giving me life today again. That's like a little short prayer in my head. I don't sit in front of an altar. I don't, Koichi Sensei will attest to this. I barely come downstairs to the Hiromai to pray. When I do, it's more like, I feel like it's more bigger things. When I feel like I need to be more formal about a prayer. But I think there's all kinds of forms of prayer. And I wonder, I don't know, maybe you guys have an opinion on this. Is there a better prayer? Is my saying Konko-sama when somebody trips, or if I see something about to fall or something like that, is that more or less powerful than me sitting in front of the altar at the Hiromae and actually sitting down and saying a prayer? What is better? Or do you think, in Kami-sama's eyes, is one more than the other?
Yeah, どうかね. Yeah, sometimes, like, for my mom, just shouting the name Konko-sama is enough. It's like she doesn't even have to say, oh, Konko-sama, help with that ambulance that just passed by. She just says Konko-sama, and it's like automatically Konko-sama's gonna stick onto that ambulance and go to wherever it needs to go. When something's trying to fall and hitting you, she says Konko-sama, and it's gonna be like I don't know, for my mom, it's like an automatic shield or like a block, or like whatever that falls down doesn't break. And I was like, wow, it's really amazing. Just shouting Konko-sama. Because that's Konkokyo's divine name that we call. And different religious or faiths have different holy names that they call when they need help. Like for Christians, it may be the Father in heaven or Jesus. For Islam, it might be Allah. For Buddhism, it may be Nam Amida Butsu. So by calling these sacred names or these names with power, they'll receive blessings. So in Konkokyo, if we are Konko, then the name to call should be Konko-sama, is what my mom always taught me. So since I was small, my mom always used to shout Konko-sama for everything. Even when Christy Yamaguchi, which is a figure skater of our days, did a triple axel and fell on her butt, my mom would shout Konko-sama. Even when she saw a drama and like the girl slapping the guy's face, my mom would shout Konko-sama, and I would tell her, Okasan, this is just a drama. Even when a copy machine doesn't work, I would be like hitting the copy machine all over the place and saying, oh, Logan, what the heck is wrong with you? And my mom would say, no, don't do that. She would like pet it instead and says, oh, thank you for all your hard work you do for us every single time. And she put her hands together and she would say, onegai shimasu, thank you, but we need you to work because we're going to print the newsletters. And boom, it starts working again. And I was like, oh gosh, your level of prayer is more amazing than mine. And I also think that prayer can come as thoughts, just that thought we have in our head. It doesn't even have to be a prayer to Kami-sama. Like, how many times have you just thought of something like, oh man, I feel like drinking coffee, and then boom, somebody brings that big, that shareable Starbucks coffee, that big jug, and like just puts it on the nursing station table for us to enjoy. And I was like, wow, that's so amazing. How many times was I thinking about a manapua or like those pork buns, and somebody brings it to the church or again to the nurse's station, or just randomly I receive one. There's so many instances where I was just thinking, I wasn't even praying to Kami-sama, but it just comes to me. So our thoughts, I think, we have to be very careful with them. What we think, what doesn't come out of our mouths, and what we just think in our hearts is we have to practice thinking better thoughts. Like if you see somebody that obviously look like they're intoxicated, they're houseless, and they look unkempt, what is going to be your initial thought to them? Is it going to be like the prayerful heart that says, oh, Konko-sama, I pray that the person will be safe, that person will have a shelter to sleep in tonight. I hope that person will, be safe from the storm that's coming, or some kind of kind thought, versus, oh, I want to stay away from that person as far as possible. What kind of thought comes into our mind? And it's so important. Because I saw under this flagpole at his hospital, this lady just crying at the bottom of the flagpole. She just crying her eyes out, and I just blurted out to my mom because she was sitting next to me in the car. I was like, wow, man, she must be crazy or something. I shouldn't be saying that, but yeah, that came out of my mouth. And my mom was like, oh, no, oh, I feel so sorry for her. Something really bad must have happened. So my thoughts and my mom's thoughts are completely different. And again, that's like a prayer already, what we think of people. So, 本当に we have to be careful what we think. Because what we think, they're going to feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we have to remember the founder Konko-sama's prayer. If he's Konko-sama, he say Konko-sama. Ikemi Konko Daini-sama repeatedly or Konko-sama repeatedly when he pray, before he pray. So that's very powerful to me, that how we should pray, we follow the founder's way. So I think when look at his first half with life, there's many problems, illnesses, human relations, financial problems, and he was able to live with that and overcame. And maybe he doubts, maybe Kami-sama prayer. He didn't know anything about, like a Konkokyo or Tenchi Kane No Kami, anything. He was devoted, the local farmer, believed the shrine temples and visiting shrine temples, pray. But eventually, he learned the power of Konko-sama, the Toritsugi mediation, I believe. When you say Konko-sama, that's the Toritsugi mediation. So even though your prayer is not strong enough, but it helps if you say Konko-sama through Toritsugi mediation. Even though you don't go physically to the church or Toritsugi mediation, you can say Konko-sama through Ikemi Konko Daijin to Tenchi Kane No Kami-sama. Could be that's Toritsugi mediation. And current Konko-sama, 6 Konko-sama always say Konko-sama arigatou gozaimasu. Whenever we visited, see sick Toritsugi mediation, he smiled and said, Konko-sama arigatou gozaimasu. And I say Konko-sama arigatou. That means not only founder Konko-sama, but actually successive Konko-sama and ancestors, the people support me, like a family, to everybody. In short, he said, Konko-sama arigatou gozaimasu. So that's, Konko-sama is very meaningful, powerful word for him and for us too, I believe. So I'm kind of following that. I'm saying that, I try to say that as a kekai.
The sixth Konko-sama, he says that, Konko-sama arigatou gozaimasu, when he hands you the goshimai at the end of the otoroke, if you notice.
So prayer, we can pray everywhere, but also we can pray at the church or special place. That helped me to focus on prayer, like kind of sacred place or sacredly. I can feel like a church in the silent or holy kind of environment. So I can pray. But at the same time, I always believe our prayer also affect the place. So the more prayer, the place can become more sacred. That's a unagi theory that I was told.
Unagi means iyo, yeah?
Iyo. When you go to unagi-yasan, the iyo is very good. Usually the restaurant has a special soul soup sauce
Tare.
and in the container, so they use the eel put into the container so the eel can suck the tare and they fry, right? Not fry, but yaku.
Broiled.
And then it continues. You do repeatedly. So that means the eel can get the flavor. The same time the tare get the flavor from the eel. So that's why the tare becomes so special. So same, likewise, the church, we pray, sincere prayer, the place itself observe the prayer. So that's very important. So I think when people come to church and pray, so the more we can feel, I can say, sacredness. So it's a good cycle of prayer. I always share that the musician who cannot see, the koto player, what you call koto, Japanese traditional
Zither.
zither.
Zither. It's an instrument.
Instrument.
13 strings, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was able to figure out the koto made of wood in the temple.
That grew in it.
Yeah, because he felt the tree itself observed the okyo, the sutra every so often. So he felt something special when he play the instrument. Not only people like trees, the building itself, I think, observe our prayer. We say thank you to water, thank you to your body. It's I believe, effect. So prayer too. When pray, we received the special power, I believe. We saying that the animals or pets raised in church observe the prayer, so they're a little bit different. Maybe they can live longer or something like that. I have no evidence, or just I feel that way.
When I attended the conference, one of the attendees from Philadelphia, she mentioned, this was very inspiring for me. She mentioned that the faith was a living, breathing organization or organism. And there are 4 pillars to the faith. And to me, it was very refreshing to know what these 4 pillars are in her sense. Tenchi Kane No Kami, Ikiyami Konko Daijin Sama, the minister, and the believers. So these 4 elements keep the faith, the Konkokyo, a living, breathing organism. So without one of them, it's like it won't be complete without the other. So very important 4 pillars. We basically bring energy into the church. A few years ago, both me and my parents, we went to Japan. So I asked my brother to watch the church, like come by to watch the church. And after we came back, he told me, wow, Edna, it was kind of creepy that no one was here. It felt like the church was dead. It's like he felt like there was no energy in the house too. Like the house was dead, the church was dead. Just because we were like, there wasn't even a single person, right? Because we had to have him just kind of watch the church. I know that feeling because I had to watch the church one time when my parents went to Japan, and I had to do suban. I had to stay back. And it was really, I felt really sad. It was too quiet, no laughter, no arguments, and I missed that. So to really have somebody here, to me, is such a blessing. And to even have a few church members come every Sunday, to me, is such a blessing that I'm really, really grateful for. And they keep everybody together. We keep the church alive.
Founder said Miki no Kokoro is important when pray. His teaching goes, Konko Daijin told me those who practice faith should always pray with Miki in their heart. The Kami will make any request come true. Those who practice faith should not forget this. Miki means the 3 ki, which are arigata ki, gratefulness, osore oki, awe, and mottai naki, reverence. If those who practice faith forget these 3 things, they will not be able to receive divine blessings. So as long as we have the 3 key, gratefulness, awe, reverence, we can receive blessings. And we stay at the church and pray. I think we can feel that 3 key because the church is alive. Kami-sama is alive. We are alive. And we can feel that energy. So that's why we feel gratefulness. We can have gratefulness and awe and reverence feeling.
So what I'm hearing is prayer still reaches Kami-sama, no matter where you are, even if you don't say it out loud necessarily. But coming to church and praying in front of the altar is not just for yourself, but you would also be adding to that church's energy key. So is that better then? I guess you could say it's better, right?
It's good too. For
It's a
example,
good
if
practice
like
too.
your best friend is like in a medical emergency, are you just gonna sit on the couch, read the text, and be like, oh, hope she's gonna be okay, and just pray in front of the TV? Or you're gonna call up sensei and tell him about what's going on? Or you're gonna go to church and be like, this is going on right now, and my friend really needs help. It's kind of like the level of sincerity, which is more sincere. Well, if your friend witnessed you praying, then she'll be like, wow, she actually went to church for me? Oh, that's so nice. Like, wow, she really cares. Versus, oh, she's just sitting on a couch. Oh, she doesn't really care about me. So it's kind of like that, where your sincerity goes a long way. And that's where I want to share this teaching. Shimamura Hachitaro on page 140 on Gorikai 1. It says, show no reserve, strike a temple bell as if to break it. Beat a taiko drum as if to tear it. They will neither break nor tear. It depends on how you strike or beat. Aim to resound far and wide throughout the universe. And so recently we were listening to some sermons, Konkokyo sermons on a CD that I was in more than like 25 years ago for the Yonyon no Kai. It's this gathering that the Hiroshima diocese, they like to gather at Gohonbu and have their little meetings, and I was part of that because I was in the Konkokyo seminary at that time. And one of the senseis mentioned about this teaching, and he says, well, technique to hit the taiko bell is important. And it's like Kami-sama is like this taiko drum. And technique will make it resound really nice and far and wide. But he also says what's really important is the bachi. The bachi is what you hit it with, and that's your sincerity. He said if your bachi is really tiny, then even if you hit, if you try to get sound out of it, you won't get sound. So I have brought an example. I brought toothpicks right here, and this is my little bachi. This is like showing you little sincerity. So this is like praying on a couch for your friend that might die. So he's, oh, Kami-sama, please help me. Please help me. The blessings or the sound that comes back is really tiny. Versus maybe next level sincerity is like you call on the phone to Koichi sensei or something, and then you're like, please pray for me. Please pray for me. And then the sound is like pretty big. And next level, like I think the bigger level is using the real taiko bachi. This is your sincerity where you're going to church and you're not going to let anything distract you from this prayer to Kami-sama. You absolutely want Kami-sama to hear you out. You're going to hit with this big bachi, and it's going to be very loud. Of course, it's going to be loud for his microphone. But so anyways, that's the kind of example that the sensei was talking about in the Yonyon no Kai sermon. So no matter how hard you hit it with, if you don't use the proper bachi, or if you don't have the proper sincerity in your heart, then no matter how much you pray, the sound that comes back either going to be big or small. I thought that was a really interesting sermon.
Yeah, very interesting. Easy to understand how important your sincerity is. It's kind of natural. Yeah, we know that when you call friends or you make time to visit, it's a big difference. Even though you're busy, you cannot do that. But when you have time, you can visit. Nobody asks you to come when you're busy, but you can line, you text, you call, you email, and after you have time, you visit your friend. They're happy. It's natural.
But then again, some people, they live far away from the church. They don't have a church anywhere near them. Telling them to go to church to pray for your friend or something may be pretty impossible. So Kami-sama again can read your sincerity. So if that's the case, then even that phone call is going to resonate to Kami-sama like this big bachi over here. Mm-hmm. It's all dependent on your sincerity. So Hontoni. Somebody said that for a person who lives in Gohonbu area, the Konko area, and if they go to worship every day versus somebody who lives far away, like on U.S. mainland or like Hawaii, and they come to worship at the Hiromai just once a year, the sincerity will be equal, he said, to Kami-sama. Even though a person from Hawaii can't go to Honbu every single day, just that once a year has the same amount of sincerity as somebody that goes to Omairi, to the headquarters on a daily basis, just because they live in proximity. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sincerity, quality, not quantity, is what I guess it boils down to.
But I think a quantity too, because if you want to go all the way to go home, but you pray, you want to go that kind of quantity you have. So your quantity and quality happening to the same time to me.
But mainly it's sincerity that's so important. I'll talk about this little boy. I guess this is a Hilo Church story. And I don't know how accurate my retelling of this is, but he didn't have any money to offer the church, but he came daily, I heard. And he offered a little stone. Every time he come Omairi or worship every day to Hilo Church, he offered a little pebble. And it filled up like a box because he would come daily. And that became the foundation of Hilo Church. They mixed the pebbles within the foundation of the Hilo Kyokai. And he became a successful person, actually. Yeah, he received okage.
Any last words? Okay, let me check. Oh yeah, nowadays we talk about AI, and AI is so good, but I don't think AI can pray. Only human can pray. I don't know other animal can pray. They can talk sometimes. Animals can talk. They have languages, but I'm not sure they can pray. The prayer is so, how can I say, we can pray, so we're human beings, human beings, so we can pray. So that's how important praying for us too. So Konko Daiji no founder said we should pray daily. We can pray to connect with Kami-sama. Not only something happen or we need help or prayer request, but it should be daily routine. You just like a greeting to Kami-sama, a good morning, good afternoon, thank you. We say every day. I say good morning this morning, so I won't say good morning next day. I don't think so. Yeah, we pray every day. So prayer is like that. We should communicate with Kami-sama. That's a prayer. So inoru in Japanese is actually not only from us to Kami-sama, but actually Kami-sama to us. So it should be a mutual fulfillment, not only one way, but mutual way. So that it's communication. So we pray, Kami-sama definitely responds us. So we need to be careful when pray. We should receive Kami-sama's message. So that's inori, prayer. So not only one way. We have to make sure our prayer is not one way. We can receive Kami-sama's message as long as we are aware of it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. I think we covered a lot today. I pretty enjoy today's conversation, but it's time to end. I hope you enjoyed today's Konko Talk too. Thank you so much for joining us to today's topic. We truly appreciate your time and support, and we hope you enjoy our conversation as much as we did. Remember to subscribe to our podcast, YouTube, so you never miss an episode. And please share it with your friends and family. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for future episodes, feel free to reach out to us via email, konkotalk@gmail.com. Until next time, take care and stay curious. This is Koichi Konko Talk, and Edna Sensei, Aimee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.